Most people think getting to their first £1 million or dollars even is all about strategy, but it's not. It's about psychology more than anything else. The first £1 million isn't built typically in your bank account per se. It's built in your personal operating system. Welcome back. I'm Dan Thompson. I'm a chartered wealth manager and multi-business founder. And I'm super excited for today's video because most people think getting to their first £1 million or dollars even is all about strategy, but it's not. It's about psychology more than anything else. And I've advised people who are in their 20s and made their first million, even one or two that have done it before 20, which is absolutely mad when you think about it. And I've also advised people who have been earning six figures for decades and still not achieved that first $1 million. And the difference usually isn't about intelligence. It's about mindset, behavior, identity, and most importantly, restraint. The first £1 million isn't built typically in your bank account per se. It's built in your personal operating system. You have to change your identity, shift it from being a consumer over here to an allocator or an investor even, a builder of wealth. Because the biggest transition I see is at some point you have to stop thinking like a consumer and you have to start thinking about how to allocate your money, your wealth more effectively. Because consumers ask, what can I buy next? Or what can I upgrade? Whereas allocators ask, where should the capital go? Or what will this become in 10 years' time? And the first million is built when every single pound or dollar, every surplus is treated like a seed as opposed to a reward. And that's a psychological shift for a lot of people. Delayed gratification needs to become automatic. And I don't know why, but I've been particularly good at this my entire life. You know, people talk about discipline, but the real shift happens when delayed gratification becomes automated. It stops feeling painful. And when you generally prefer to invest 50K as opposed to buying that car or keeping your lifestyle lean as opposed to showing your success for the validation of others, it's not because you're frugal, it's because you understand the power of compounding. And once you truly grasp that money invested at 30 behaves very differently than money invested at 40, for example, your behavior will change permanently. You need to take risk because risk has to become structured, not emotional. It must be intelligent risk, it must be calculated. Early stage wealth builders often take calculated career risks or business risks. They start their own business. They invest heavily in skill acquisition, in themselves. They move geographies or country as per se. And the mistake I often see is unmanaged risk, uncalculated risk, or people being reckless. And the people who reach 1 million think asymmetrically. So they look at what's their downside, what's their upside, can they survive a downturn? And that framing is what changes everything. The first 1 million is hard because of what I call lifestyle anchors. And these can be so dangerous because as your income increases, a lot of people typically increase their lifestyle alongside it, right? And that means their baseline also rises and the pressure rises alongside it. And subsequently, as a result, what happens is the appetite for risk then reduces, it falls. And ironically, they slow down the rate at which they're building wealth, their wealth creation. And many of the self-made millionaires that I have the pleasure of knowing and working alongside lived way below their means, far below their means while they were in their growth phase, while they were building their wealth. Not forever, but intentionally as they built their wealth. Stop outsourcing responsibilities because at lower levels, people blame the government, they blame the market, they blame the economy, they may even blame their boss. And at higher levels, people ask, what could I have done differently? That ownership mindset is what accelerates wealth because control accelerates growth. They don't play the blame game. The first 1 million is rarely ever built alone. It's built through better networks, high-level conversations, access to opportunity, sharing of information. Because the people who get there are really deliberate about who they speak to, who they partner with, who they learn from. And those relationships compound faster than money ever could. You need emotional stability when under pressure. And there's always going to be a significant amount of volatility on the road to 1 million because you're going to have business volatility, market volatility, perhaps self-doubt along the way. And if you react emotionally, you will keep resetting your progress repeatedly. And the people who get to their first 1 million, they build emotional control. They zoom out, they take a helicopter view, they don't panic sell, they don't ego invest, they don't lifestyle escalate in bull runs. What they do is they stick to the script. They stick to basic principles, foundations that work time and time again and keep control. So you've got to define what enough is early. and as early as possible in your journey as you can. And this one is uncomfortable for a lot of people, because if you don't define what enough is, you will never be wealthy. And I see this time and time again. Throughout my entire career, I've seen the goalposts move, because even at £1 million, the goals will move for most people. And the reality is £1 million in today's money doesn't go very far anymore. It doesn't necessarily equal financial freedom. And if you're not careful, comparison will escalate consistently. As you can imagine, I see this all the time in Dubai, because there is always someone who is at that next level. There's always someone doing better than you, as per se. But that doesn't mean they are wealthier than you. They may have more money than you, but money does not equal wealth. It's simply a token for time. And what you need to do is you need to define your target capital, your target or goal lifestyle, your financial freedom income figure. Because without any of those things, the numbers will never satisfy you. And I see this all the time. I can't stress this enough. So once you have your figure and you understand why that figure is what it is, what it will give you in terms of lifestyle or time even, it becomes so much easier to be effective at building wealth. The first 1 million is built internally first. I can't stress this enough. The first million is almost like a mirror, because what it does is it reflects your discipline, your emotional maturity, your self-control, your patience, your risk collaboration. Money is just the output, remember. The psychology is what is the engine behind it all. And if you build the psychology, the capital will naturally follow. And if you chase capital without building the psychology, it will often disappear. Right guys, if you liked this video, please hit a like and a subscribe. I want to keep putting out content like this and helping founders, business owners, high-level performers get more from their life, from their money, from their business. So thanks again. Until next time.